So, why are you here? Really, you could be anywhere today in your pursuit of justice for our communities. We're all pressed for time, fighting our way on too many fronts, trying to make sense of a reality that seemed implausible just 2 years ago. You chose to be here, rooted in courage, committed to finding the solutions you seek and acting on them to see if it's possible to make that better world that we've never seen fully realized. That's what we're here to figure out together. Welcome. For those who don't know me, I haven't had the chance to meet me. I'm Dwayne S. Marsh. I'm the president and CEO of Northern California Grantmakers, and we are so pleased and grateful that you're here today. I keep coming back to a conversation I had with my cousin Harold in the first month of my time on this post during the deep cut of the COVID pandemic that shapes my approach to this work today. Harold lives in Chicago, and he's an ardent student of history, particularly in the pursuit of racial justice. His observations often help me to refine my own thinking. We're speaking in the aftermath of the George Floyd's murder on the profound acceleration of a national conversation that was decades overdue. Eventually, we came to the removal of the Confederate statues on iconic Monument Avenue in our hometown of Richmond, Virginia, something neither of us thought we'd ever see in our lifetimes. And as he so often does, Harold put the achievement in context. At that very moment, students of color were being denied at disproportional rates admission to Richmond's premier, most prestigious public school for gifted students. My lament came without thinking. Change is inevitable, I said. Progress is a choice. We stand in a moment where that choice, real progress, hangs in the balance more precariously than ever. So why be here? Before we explore this, we're going to begin, as we ought, by acknowledging the land on which we stand. We lift up the stewards of this land who have cared for it for generations and are still here, continuing to lead, resist, and fight for the return of their homelands. We're on the unceded ancestral homelands of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. Their ongoing presence is an essential part of our region's past, present, and future. As the indigenous stewards of this land, in accordance with their traditions, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as caretakers of this place, as well as for all peoples who reside in their traditional territory. As guests, we recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland. At NCG, we understand the legacies of colonization and systemic racism are the roots of displacement, injury, inequity, and injustice. Our shared work for racial equity and justice is inseparable from the movements of indigenous people. Each year, NCG commits 1% of all membership revenue to land tax initiatives within our region, including the Sogorea Land Trust, the Wiyot Honor Tax, and the Association of Ramaytush Ohlone, Yelamu, and Yenikan Land Tax. We encourage you to join us in this act of returning resources by supporting land taxes in your area and explore how philanthropy can move in right relationship with indigenous communities. Today, we're also honored to be in partnership with Sogorea, whom you'll hear in our sensational closing plenary. This acknowledgement isn't just ceremonial. It's a reminder that the past is not past, that decisions we make today are always based on the ground shaped by history, by struggle, and by resistance. So, why are we here? I'm not going to get into a us-them conversation today. I'm not a believer in that construct, usually. But there is a clear dividing line between those who espouse values of equity, inclusion, and community, and those who are more comfortable embracing authoritarianism than adjusted to the societal progress that those values represent. Besides, aren't you a little bit tired of talking about them? What's their motivation? How did they outmove progressives? How this is 4 decades in the making? Look at what they've done now. They. Let's talk about us. I won't belabor the severity, complexity, and exasperation of the moment. We're all living in it, and you probably read something this morning, or you'll read something this evening. It's going to ultimately put the unreality of the last 15 months right back in your face. There's no escaping the truth that our society, on many fronts, is failing us. It leaves me wondering what my role is in fighting back. Is there anything to do enough? Any way to do more? Can I even make a difference? You know the feeling. That can't be the best our society has to offer. 69 months into this role, this reality is heavy on my mind. We steward a field rich with privilege and awesome responsibility. Capital from our sector seeds public, private, and nonprofit action. It creates social cohesion that helps bend political discourse and shape civil society. At our best, we incubate, innovate, invest, and champion social progress. But fulfilling that potential can be elusive. What will it take to be our best selves? To whom are we accountable? Foundations catalyze the greatest advances when our accountability is to community. But by and large, we're not set up for that. Whether we're new to the pursuit of racial equity or decades into it, moving resources to those most affected by structural impediments must be our focus. If the current crises cannot be the catalyst for us doing more, doing better, what will? That is why I'm here. I have the privilege of leading an organization designed to move an entire sector of our civil society to greater impact. NCG is one of the handful of philanthropic intermediary organizations, PIO, spread around the country that tries to influence foundations and wealth builders of all stripes to do more with what they have. And you know what they say, philanthropy is not just going to up and change itself. I work with one of the best staffs in the business. You'll see them in action all day long, and many of you already have deep and meaningful relationships with several of them. We're governed by the absolute best board in the PIO ecosystem. In fact, please stand if you're a member of the NCG board. Take the opportunity to talk to one of them today, learn more about their own journey and why they commit so much energy in support of us moving forward. They are more than just ambassadors. Each of them is an exemplar of the philanthropy we wish to be. I often joke, only slightly, that at NCG, we don't want to be a PIO. We want to be a PTO, a philanthropy transforming organization. Because if we don't unleash our ultimate grant-making prowess, particularly in these trying times, what is the point? To build the equitable society we've never seen will take a caliber of grant-making we've never fully exhibited. But it is one that we can. And that's the privilege you bring to the table, to be part of that exploration. We do this through a number of ways: convening, collaborative management, communities of practice, programming, assembling philanthropic leadership, pooling funds, policy advocacy, public-private partnerships, even pushing our membership to confront uncomfortable truths about where they're falling short. Because if we don't have that honest reflection, we miss the pathway to more effective impact. We're doing everything in our power to help you unlock the delta in your grant making, what you could be doing better, doing more of, to meet the challenges this moment represents. As the organizations on the front lines of our communities contemplate their very survival and the withering assaults on the life outcomes of the populations they serve, we can do no less. This is ultimately the responsibility that comes with the privilege of having a livelihood that literally changes lives. Not many get that opportunity. Embrace it. In essence, our work this year is about shortening the interval between inspiration and action. Because honestly, our communities cannot wait. Which brings us back to the annual conference. What do we need to build to have the kind of philanthropy this region sorely needs and truly deserves? We need the humility to know what we cannot do it alone, the clarity to recognize what works and what needs to be done differently, the relationship to community authentic enough to hear what's needed and let that guide our work, and the audacity to believe our efforts can make a difference. And we need courage. The willingness to stand firm in our values, say the thing that needs to be said, try new approaches that may ultimately feel uncomfortable, stay the course in the face of withering headwinds. The funny thing is, courage works best in community. It's the virus we want to spread. So here we are in Burlingame, California, for at least today, the epicenter of Northern California's movement for progressive philanthropy. We invite you to come together with friends and allies to chart a path forward for transformation, liberation of our communities, and the ignition of even greater commitment and investment in the region we all deserve to experience. You've chosen to be here to do this work, to challenge systems, to change lives. I invite you to lean into your courage, and remember that more important than the state of courage is the act that results. What will be your act of courage? Many of you know my story. Raised in a circle of civil rights leaders who helped desegregate Virginia schools, who deconstructed structures that denied opportunity, that elevated a generation's expectations of what basic rights in this country entail. The blowback they received went well beyond political. It threatened their very lives. Harold and I grew up surrounded by a different standard of courage. It's a legacy I'll never match, but it grounds me as I find my way on a path to commit to justice. That path brought me west for more exposure and learning, launching a 35-year love affair with racial equity and systems change that continues to this day, now anchored by a 20-year partnership of the heart. Each of us, I'll get an applause for that. Each of us has a journey that brings us to this work, keeps us grounded in the better community. Your journey led you here because you're itching for deeper action, you're considering it, or maybe you realize you need to be surrounded by others who are already in motion to accelerate your own momentum. And if you're like me, while you're down to change the system, you can envision someone specific for whom your people you hope to have a better world. For my partner and I, even as we lay it down for people we've never met, who have been marginalized, we work to pay it forward for all the nibblings who call us Uncle and Auntie. They are much older than that now, I just have to tell you. In a moment where the courage wavers, holding these people central will reestablish your grounding. So, why are you here? We often say that the 10 is big, but it moves with the trajectory. That trajectory is toward justice, and racial equity is the metronome that guides us. You'll see that reflected throughout the day. If I may, I'll offer a few ground rules that'll help you make the most of this ambitious program and perhaps for the work ahead. Move quickly, firmly, and steadily, but not alone. Make today count as a space for deep connection across this amazing philanthropic ecosystem. Share your strengths and stay open to learning from the brilliance in this room. Empower communities to act now and plan big, co-creating strategies with those in the front lines. Move in true solidarity with the nonprofit sector, not just funding, but embracing their expertise and following their lead. And invest at the scale of the challenge. The time value of your money will never be greater. And if you were saving for the rainy day, I have news for you. Grab your Sharpie, the hurricane is here. And if you're hoping to see people model these practices for greater impact, you're definitely come to the right place. We'll open with a sensational context-setting plenary, followed by 2 rounds of breakouts, explore the how of moving with courage via enhanced purpose, practice, and action. And you won't want to leave early, as Katali Foundation's Amaka Agbo moderates a fantastic lineup of movement leaders from throughout the region for their prescription on what philanthropy needs to do to play its part in building the society we want to see in 2040. Woven throughout the day, you'll find the art and culture that fuels our imagination and energizes our drive to build the communities we seek. And most importantly, you'll find each other. Thank you to the sponsors who have made all this possible. This support is more critical than ever, and we invite you to join those who have invested in us to help you make the most of your investments. And special kudos to our annual presenting sponsor for 2026, Kaiser Permanente. Use today to replenish your tactics, recharge your spirit, reanimate your actions to build the kind of region our communities deserve. Let's support each other to write that future, bold, just, and alive with possibility. To that end, let's begin.